Café and Networking Podcast promotes entrepreneurs, business experts throughout the world. I'm Tom Reaoch, known as the King of Networking, podcasting, connecting people from my studio in Brazil. Today we talked with Sephanie Olson, and she's joining us from Omaha, Nebraska in the United States. Stephanie Olson, a speaker, author, CEO of the Set Me Free Project, a prevention education organization on human trafficking, social media safety, and healthy relationships. The Set Me Free Project was formed in 2015 after an extensive period of training, research, and education on the evils and mechanics of human trafficking. So, Stephanie, how can we protect our children from being trafficked?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. You know, the Set Me Free Project is all about educating not only youth, but parents, teachers on how to protect our children from being trafficked. And the key thing, I always say, the number one way to prevent human trafficking is building relationships. Traffickers build incredible relationships. We need to build better ones.
We need to be good ones.
Yes, very positive ones. We need to be those safe adults for our kiddos, because what trafficking is all about is the buying and selling of a human being through force, fraud, or coercion. But it's happening on social media. And that's the important piece. Traffickers are not kidnapping. I mean, they can, but the reality is the majority of traffickers are building relationships, and those bad relationships with our kiddos, building trust, filling a need, and then these traffickers are making it seem like this is something that they've chosen to do, that the trafficked individuals have chosen.
So it's become the virtual candy on the corner.
Yeah, essentially. Absolutely. And how easy is it to find anything I need to find out about somebody through social media when we post everything that people need to know? And so that is, as parents, we need to make sure that we're educated, and we need to make sure that we're involved, checking our kids' social media, being very present with who their friends are, who their followers are. That's really critical.
Yeah, because once something is posted, it's really,
it's there.
It's not in our control anymore.
Nope, it's there. And so we don't have that. Yeah, we can't get back necessarily.
So learning, number one is restrict of what you show and tell.
Yeah. Well, you want to really make sure, I would say number one is making sure you know who your followers are, that these are people that we have met in person, that we have a relationship with already, that social media is not the place to meet people. And so we want to make sure that the people who are following us on social media are people we already know, we trust, and we have a good relationship with.
And then we need to know who our children know.
Exactly. Yes, it's no different.
Because it's the mom and pop and the grandpop. Yes. But we're not sure anymore. And I'm saying that as a grandparent, I really don't know who my grandchildren relate with. Obviously, some of them, they're visible to the school door, and you know that. The virtual connections are unknown.
Absolutely. The world is a different place, and we as parents need to help our kids safely navigate that. We don't want to take it away. Social media is not going anywhere, but to really prevent human trafficking, we have to help our kids safely navigate social media and that world as well.
So you're saying it starts young, very young, or it should start very young.
Our curriculum actually starts in third grade. We're actually moving it to kindergarten and goes all the way through college age for youth. And then we talk to adults of every facet of this, communities, because we all see it. We just don't know we're seeing it.
Well, we see it, then we hear about it on the news.
Well, we do. And what the news does is it tends to sensationalize it. And there are absolutely really sensational things happening. But what we have to remember is that human trafficking is in our community, it's in our backyards, and it's in our home because of social media.
Yeah, because I'm from the time, this goes way back, when on a milk carton in the States, used to
absolutely.
have pictures of persons, lost children.
Yes.
And that was one of the first approaches to draw attention to a real fact.
Yep. And that started because of Johnny Gosch, who was taken in Des Moines, Iowa, not too far from me. And he was put in a trafficking situation. And so that's how the milk cartons got started. It's been around for a long time, but we're seeing it more prevalent because of social media.
Well, you've become the modern day milk carton.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, that's right.
And I think, well, I don't say it's easier because obviously I'm not looking at a milk carton, your milk carton here in Brazil. But this is a global problem. This is not local.
It is a global problem. It is literally happening everywhere in our world. And I think this is something that as the world globally, we can work together to combat this problem.
And part of the trafficking is to take children or youth, whatever, and send them out of the country. It's not only...
that's an interesting thing because that is what we think about a lot. We think that there has to be movement, but really the majority of trafficking, wherever you are, that's where they're typically sticking around. And so there is movement. So sometimes for big events, we're going to move some people over here and sell them. But most of trafficking that we're seeing is not kidnapping and shipping somewhere. It's really this community thing that's happening right under our noses. And we're seeing a huge increase of familial trafficking, which is mom and dads are the traffickers, grandma and grandpas are the traffickers. So it really does look very different than sometimes what we think it looks like.
So what you're saying then, the danger may not be knocking on the door, it may be inside the door.
It could be, yeah, it could be, or right next door. And the majority of trafficked individuals are trafficked by someone they already know. And so that
goes
is
sexual
really,
abuse in many cases, the same thing.
absolutely. Huge thing. Yeah. And the grooming process that traffickers use to lure an individual is very much the same as a sexual abuse grooming process. And so I think, have to be really mindful. That's why the Set Me Free Project does prevention education. That's why we get our curriculum in the schools so that kiddos can actually learn what the truth is, what myths are, but also learn in a very fun and engaging way.
So you want to reach, obviously, the children, you want to reach the teachers, those involved in the curriculum, the parents, grandparents, community in general.
Yes, absolutely. Everybody needs to be educated on this because it is worldwide, and we definitely love to do that.
Well, Stephanie, how can our audience, how can our listeners find more about you and the project?
Absolutely. Well, you can find the Set Me Free Project at setmefreeproject.net. And we would love to engage with you and get our curriculum in your schools. You can also find me at stephanieolson.com, stephanieolson.com.
Very good. Well, Stephanie, congratulations for what you're doing, and thanks for being part of our show today.
Thank you for having me.
And thanks again. And for our audience, again, you can find more information about Stephanie Olson, and it's Stephanie, the last name Olson, Olson, on her site, stephanieolson.com, and also on setmefreeproject.net, setmefreeproject.net. Café and Networking is brought to us by Focus Semi-Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information on the website, focusmi.com. Thanks for listening until the next time here at Café and Networking Podcast.